Can anyone hear me?
Yeah.
Nope. Can't hear you.
You guys are terrible pirate hunters. Just quick question. Where are we going? I know we're going down the river or whatever, but what's our objective? I am Satet playing a bard named Tuco that is a half-elf and is very itchy.
I'm Surtur playing Grunthos, the Kobold Ranger.
I'm Holocall playing Holocall, the human fighter.
I'm Intertud. I'm playing Horgold Wolfshift, a human rogue.
That button. Now can you hear me? So my players could hear me, but apparently my stream couldn't. So, yeah, seems to be working now. All right, go ahead and restart. Yeah, what happened? Somebody gave me what happened last time.
Well, based on the podcast that I listened to, it sounded like you guys, the crew was wanting to leave, but they were overheard talking about things they probably should have been a little more careful about talking about. And the repair guy decided that they needed to have a sail master since they had no sails and obviously had no idea how to sail the ship based on the condition it came back in. So he was trying to do a good deed / possibly spy by bringing a sailmaster and trying to convince the crew to take on the sailmaster. Eventually, there was a lot of discussion about how to get out of port without just flying and breaking their cover. And I believe they eventually just basically shoved off and sailed away. I kind of forget the detail there. Anyways, they were going down the river. Sooner or later, they were attacked by pirates because they were trying to pretend they were a real ship and stayed in the river. And the pirate battle went okay-ish, but the pirates eventually fled with their sails on fire, and despite the fact that they were on fire in the middle of the night and should be easily visible, somehow Grunthos finally started failing at his rolls and let them escape, letting everyone in the crew down. It was all Grunthos' fault. So at this point, they've lost the pirate ship and have decided that because it's the middle of the night, it was safe, and they flew way up in the air to the point where everyone's probably freezing and can barely breathe, but whatever. Grunthos is the captain.
Yep, that sounds right. Yeah, take inspiration if you don't already have it. I should just make you guys start resetting inspiration at the beginning of each session. So it is. Well, it's up to you guys. Probably the next morning at this point, you guys are flying hundreds of feet, if not 1,000 feet, over the countryside. See no evidence below you of the. See no evidence below you of the vessel. It is springtime, so it's a calm, sunny afternoon. It's what, the 12th of Emerald now? What you guys gonna do?
I'm going to walk up on deck, and I'm scratching myself because while the cleric cured any disease, apparently did not cure any critters from my misadventures. And so I'm scratching myself, walking up to Grunthos. Hey, where are we actually going?
Hang on, Matt. I think there was a discussion I don't remember. Didn't we... Horgold!
What?
Where were we going?
Away from the repair and trying to find the passengers.
Yeah, but where were we going to find them? We did already checked where the last known place where they were on board.
Yeah, but they probably got off the ship or got taken.
So we have no idea where we're actually going. We're just flying around now.
Basically.
Well, we did promise to go do a job for that lady who keeps coming onto her.
Yeah, but we promised the other guards first, so let's continue with that one first.
I think we've been gone the month we said we were a long time ago.
It's more than a month now, I think. More than 2, 3?
It's closer to 2.
Yeah, and probably a month to get back. I'm gonna start to search the lower decks for any clues about the passengers. Left something behind, or
You guys have been on the ship for long enough. You've probably found everything. Okay, so you have had time to, like, you don't need a roll or anything. You've had time to find anything that would be here on the ship. Let me know what specifically you're looking for.
any type, including rereading the log again, what kind of passengers there were. I think there were 3 of them, not sure anymore.
Yep, there were 3 passengers.
So
You guys have found, by the log of the by the captain's log, the description of the passengers, you guys have found 2 of them. Both dead. One was the person who fell from the ship in the city of Orkland. The other one was the person in the, I believe, front of the vessel with a stab wound through them, a rapier wound through them. Of the crew, you have found the pilot. You're pretty sure he was the one who had the like control book. You have found like all of the generic crew members that were running this ship. So there were like 3 or 4 of them. I forget exactly the exact number. They were the ones that were killed in the front little room on the ship. You did not find anybody who struck you as the bosun, the like person who kept the money of the ship, and you did not find the captain. Nobody was dressed like differently. So from the crew and passengers, you have no accounting for the bosun, the captain, or the final passenger.
So we're missing 3 still.
Yep. The crew members were all killed with blunt force trauma. The person who fell over the ship, you were only unable to determine what killed them since they, landed. and the person who was in the front was killed with a rapier.
Did we find a rapier?
You did not. Give you a sense of location. You guys are currently just south, or just to the north-southwest left of Piroshgazlo, probably near where the rivers converge there. Straight shot to the east almost would be to where the log ends, somewhere here or here-ish. That would be a straight flight, would be, call it 2.5 to 3 weeks. It depends on how. I mean, you could just fly over the mountains, assuming that they don't go so high. So probably. So we're here. Yeah, two weeks and a day or two. The other option would be go up to the Highlands Narrow Pass and then back down and around again. That's, again, almost a month of flight. Direct flight to Orkland would be 1, 2, 3, about a month. If you guys want to go to a different town than that, let me know. I can just kind of give a sense of how far it is.
What's so special about the crew that you want to find them, Horgold?
Well, they're missing. Especially it's the captain and the Bowden. They might double cross the owner of the ship to sell it or something.
The passengers, you guys, it was heavily implied that it was Anya and 2 of her people. What is a crafting roll usually? Let me load up Grothos. Carpenter's tools. For this sort of, I would say strength for this sort of repair. You're shoving places into places, and strength or dex maybe. 14. All right, so Grunthos is repairing the damage done by the ballista bolt. You get shored up well. You don't think it's going to get any worse. You're going to need equipment, or not equipment, materials that aren't currently on the ship to actually get it fully repaired, basically to get the HP of the ship up, but it's not going to get any worse. Anyway, the passengers were heavily implied to be Anya and 2 of her men from Convergence. Let's see. You guys, from what I remember, you guys were tasked by the guards in the city of Orkland to see what happened to this vessel. Tuco, you have been given a quest by Mab to track down Anya, and other people have been given other quests by secret people in secret ways.
So, if we think that Anya was a passenger, can't we sneak into Convergence and see if we can find if she's even in-house anymore? We should be able to figure out if Anya's still around.
Oh, basically, if she came back to there,
Yeah, that's the idea.
you can sure try. Yeah, that's a valid avenue of investigation.
Yeah, maybe she knows something about the captain and the Bosun?
Did you guys leave on good terms with her?
I did not.
I did.
Who is Anya?
A formal employee.
Employer, maybe?
Oh yeah, employer. Sorry.
Well, I vote we do that so we at least have something to go towards. Otherwise, let's go back to Orkland.
The ship did visit conference, right?
What? What was the question?
The ship went there from the locks to pick up the passengers, wasn't it?
Ship flew from Kartuk to Convergence, picked up passengers, flew through the Highland Narrows Pass, and then was on its way toward Orkland when tragedy struck. The log ended.
Okay. Yeah. So if we keep the ship concealed, we can indeed go there and try to see if we get some more information.
All right.
I'll head up to the controls, start seeing if I can navigate sort of covertly.
I mean,
trying to avoid the most dense areas.
So you know there's like a glamour on the ship so that it's less visible from the down. But if you're gonna try to avoid people on the way between Pirosh Gazlo and Convergence, it's a straight shot's probably a 4-day flight. Probably not even, maybe a 3-day flight. If you want to try to avoid people, it's probably a 5-day flight. Roughly following the river would be a fairly easy. You guys have maps of the land, so you know where rivers and stuff are, so you can follow that fairly easily. So yeah, if you want to do that, go ahead. The ship isn't damaged enough and isn't in danger enough. I'm not going to make you roll, and there's major landmarks around. So yeah, if you want to try to avoid people, it's 5 days. So
unless people are actively saying straight shot, I'm trying to avoid the largest avenues of travel.
Okay.
Because yes, there is a glamour or illusion, but there are probably people around that knows what to look for.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. 5 days. 5 days later, you guys approach the city. Are you at all getting close to the city with the ship, or are you going to avoid that entirely? Because if you are going to approach the city with the ship, I'll give you some overhead information. Otherwise, not.
Well, let's say avoid it and search a uninhabited area
I'm
next to it. No farmlands and so.
I'm looking for a cove somewhere, not far, but not semi-far, like a couple of hours by foot.
Couple hours by foot from Convergence. You're probably not going to find any sheltered coves that don't have some sort of human activity in them. This is a moderately big city, so you got shipping up and down the river. Not necessarily like super dense shipping up and down the river, but definitely, like any place that's a really like a sheltered cove of water is gonna have like a small village with some fishing boats and stuff in it, or it looks a little bit like the pirate cove that you guys ended up sailing back out of, where from overhead you can see like so rivers, usually these sort of rivers have a lot of trees and stuff alongside them, so there'll be a grove of trees next to one of these coves, and inside of that you'll see things like logs and stuff laid out, and probably a place where people sleep, and so it's like, oh, this sort of place is like a pirate cove. Within a couple hours, there's probably one of those within a couple hours of Convergence, and then like 3 or 4 other sheltered coves that have more normal traffic in them. And that's basically within both Ys of, or all 3 legs of the river. If you want to land somewhere discreet and you don't mind landing on land, that would be a little easier to find. The actual waterways are going to be a little too well traveled to be super discreet, at least this close to the city.
The chance that the ship gets stolen if we land on land is smaller.
Yeah, I was about to say, heck with it. I'm gonna try to find a discreet location, middle of some kind of forested area or something on land.
Maybe a swamp or a small pond or something where we fit in.
Sure. Give me a investigate roll. Anybody can help out with this search. Oh, good grief. Okay.
That's a 20 and a 1.
Well, at least it wasn't with disadvantage. So you guys are doing a little bit of flying around, and about early evening, probably a 3-hour walk from Convergence up into the foothills of the mountains. So kind of between the 2 rivers and kind of over where about the O of Convergence is. Well, maybe not quite that far, but probably a good 3-hour walk from Horgold. You spot an old marble quarry. So great big square pit in the ground. There's water in the bottom of it, and it is taller like the wet level of the water in the bottom of this place is deeper than the masts are high. And this place looks abandoned. Like you don't see any evidence that there's active work going on in this place.
I point the spot out to Gruntus.
And I try to put them down, put down in the water in the quarry.
All right. So this is a tight fit for the ship. Your ship isn't huge, but the quarry isn't either. You've got enough distance side to side to not have to worry too much about that, but forward and back it's kind of tight because, the front spar of the ship sticks out a fairly long ways. Go ahead and give me your piloting roll. Don't roll a 1.
And I was about to say if it's a square-ish quarry, and there's a bit of a squeeze from end to end, I'm parking diagonally.
Sure. 17. All right. So the vessel slowly drifts down into this quarry. You kind of find the angle which gives you the longest distance from each side, and you settle the ship down into the water at the bottom of this pond. The smell coming up out of it it's not super bad, and the water itself is fairly clear. And the depth of this water is like you think maybe half of this quarry is depth of water at this point. And you can see near, in the last bits of light that are shining in, under the like, several inches of topsoil and then some dirt. There's like stone solid like bedrock type stone, and about 6 feet down, it starts. You see patches of marble, and the patches of marble have like, you can see like little rivulets of metal inside the patch of marble. You're not exactly sure what that is, but this so the top of your mast is probably maybe a foot beneath the top of this thing, and the depth of the water is probably at least that far. So your masts are 30 feet. The ship itself is probably another 3 feet of draft above the water line. So another 30 feet ish down, you can see all the way to the bottom of this pit.
Oh, let's lock it up.
Lock it up, and I'm heading to bed because I don't want to go waltzing around at night towards this big city.
Okay. It's quiet and calm the evening.
Do we have anything to tie the ship to, like old stairs or something?
Yeah. So along one area there's like a ramp. It's got a couple of wooden rails embedded into it, and it winds up around the outside of the quarry. So, it goes up and then it turns right and goes up further and then turns right again, and it finally leaves the quarry. A couple of wooden rails on the ground, and there is not a railing or anything, but you can find something along the edge to tie the ship to. Yep.
I'll do that then.
All right. The air is incredibly still and calm, and there's maybe even a little, I don't know, it's late enough in spring you probably wouldn't see it anymore, but the water below you seems cold. There's not a lot of sunlight that shines down into this pit. And
so, who's gonna take watch?
I'll take last.
I'll take the first.
Yeah, sure. I'll take middle, whatever.
all right. So the night passes. Nobody standing watch. Hear anything other than some animal sounds in the distance. The morning, like, the sunrise comes. It gets light out long before you guys see evidence of the sun from the bottom of this pit, because of how deep the sides are compared to how wide it is. And apparently, I'm just rolling 12s. It's another calm and sunny day. All right, you guys think you're about a 3 to 3.5 hour walk from the city itself.
Breakfast, and get my armory ready to mosey on out.
All right.
At least for me.
You guys have fresh food. For at least another week or two from, the chickens and the eggs and all that you receive from the food vendor in Pirosh Gazlo.
Do kobolds lay eggs?
No, I think kobolds give live birth. You could give me a history roll if you want to know a little bit more about how that works, or you could ask Grunthos. Although I would have to probably end up telling Grunthos, but yeah.
Well, with that history knowledge, I'm just going to make up my own version.
So you're moderately certain that kobolds give live birth to their pups. Beyond that, you have no idea.
I was like, if dragons lay eggs, then there's kobolds, and we could just eat kobold eggs, right?
I love the thought of trying to breakfast on a dragon egg.
Pretty sure it gives us powers.
I'm certain it would give you something. I'm certain it would give you something. All right. Yeah, you guys eat breakfast. If you climb up out of the pit, you looking around, see basically a couple of outbuildings that have been like knocked down with time, places overgrown a little bit. Standing right at the edge of the pit, you can see the top of, you can see the ship fairly well. Moving much further out, and the angle gets wrong, and you can no longer see like more than just the very tip of the mast.
So, which way are we going, boys?
West.
3 hours of walking later, those of you who aren't used to walking, which is most of you now since you've been flying around in the ship for a while, your feet are getting a little sore. The road is dusty, or the like, it hasn't rained in several days, so the ground's a little dusty. You guys find a major like road fairly quickly. Follow the foot traffic and horse traffic into town. Convergence as ever. The city walls stand open. There's no real gate guard here. Those of you who were... All right, so everybody who's been in town in the last year or so, that's, Hollick and Horgold for sure, Grunthos for sure not. Tuco, I'll leave it up to you whether or not this is true. Go ahead and give me a perception roll. All right. Hollick, you, after a little bit of walking into town, notice that the city guard presence is much stronger than the last time you were here, and you don't see any of Anya's personal guards here. So you are seeing City Watch roaming the town. There is not really tension in the air, but there's definitely a feeling. It feels different this time than the last time you were in town. But yeah, Anya's guards are no longer in evidence. Other than that, commerce is going on. You see a couple of tracks. They've added a couple tracks to the train station. There's currently a train pulled into one of them that is transferring cargo out, and people are boarding. People are getting on the passenger type cars, and cargo wagons are being loaded and unloaded. Other than that, the place strikes you as remarkably the same as last time you were here. All of the damage from the explosion that happened to the train station is been patched up. You can see evidence of the patches.
You, Horgold, when there less guards last time we were here and more of Anya's men?
Yeah, seems so. We might need to investigate what the story behind that is. And I think best place to do that is in a pub.
Yes, a pub. Let's go.
Pub? Did anyone say a pub?
About mealtime, I think.
It is indeed about mealtime. It's nearing lunch. You guys go into a specific place or just finding a random pub?
One we already been in. I don't know which one it was.
Okay, I gotta find. The Color Animal Inn, if I remember correctly. I went and found some old session notes. So you guys find the Color Animal Inn again, which is near the actual convergence of the river and the docks. Place is fairly busy around lunchtime. There is the outline of the animal on the mythical beast, I think it is, on the door, or on the sign over the door. As you come in, you guys are shown to a table. Lunch is springtime. Lots of it's like a spring vegetable like lettuce and radish salad with some sort of heavy fish dressing, almost like a Caesar salad, but like radishes and lettuce instead of whatever a Caesar salad is normally made out of. And probably a fish, like roast fish.
I drop a brass on the table and say, "Keep the drinks coming."
All right. The barmaid nods at you, and after a few moments delivers a pitcher of, it's probably a, I forget the difference between ales and lagers. It's like a wheat ale, probably. I'm betting for this part of the world, a wheat ale, fairly thin, or not like, it's not super thick, just kind of a light, and she delivers a pitcher and 4 mugs, and food, and leaves you guys about your business and goes off to serve other patrons.
Does this look like a place I could fire up and start singing about like unicorns or anything?
Yes, actually there is a bar, or not a bar, a stage that is currently unoccupied. If you want to give a performance.
Yes.
All right, go ahead and head up there and give me a really good performance roll. All right. So you've got people stamping along with your. Do you do music or do you do like spoken word, or how? Give me a description of what your performance looks like.
Like Johnny Horton style ballads, but usually about something that I see, either funny stories like the ballad of Unicorn Harry or something, or something related to the political situation, or like when we were in, I forget the name of the town, and they were all racist, and I was singing about racism and stuff, and they didn't like it. But
it's not Elvish. It's not. I don't think it's Elvish rap music. So you've got people like slamming their hands on the table and stomping their feet and laughing along to the proper jokes, and about the time you're half Elvish hip hop. By the time you're wrapping up your first couple of songs, you get a, small pile, probably 5 or 6 brass in mostly bronze coins. delivered to the state, or like people come up and drop some coins into your whatever you have set up for tips. People are clapping and cheering, and like the place is filling up. People are tending to not leave. So usually someplace like this, people run in, get a quick lunch, and run back out to whatever work they do. Place is filling up to continue to watch your next performance.
Very nice. Unfortunately, we're being noticed now.
Well, you're being noticed. Whether or not they've noticed anybody else is a quick question. So while Tuco's got the crowd focused on him, what the rest of you up to?
I want to listen in to some conversations that are going on to see what's happening.
Okay. Give me your investigate. Sure, investigate. Holy fuck, it's Batman. All right. So the rumor mill has like, you don't get anything about the explosion or anything a few months ago. The town has calmed down a little bit. There's been people are talking about how many more guards there are in town, and the people who you get into you get the conversation of are like good. Don't want the rowdy people to or the troublemakers to affect us. And shipping's been way up this spring. Glad that the river opened up when it did, and so much more business now that the train lines are open and that sort of thing. But general feeling is the like unrest in town. There's been several more kind of attacks and stuff, but nothing as major as the one where you guys were here for the last time you were in town. But there's definitely, like, the town hired a bunch more guards. Several people comment on locals. They're not like outside force guards. They're locals hired on to act like anti-criminal, anti-unrest type people. With a 27, you probably get like a bureaucrat talking to, like, half into his cups, talking to somebody about the expense that Convergence is sustaining, and glad there's the new tax revenue from the rails, because there's a bunch of extra like expense, and kind of complaining that it had to be this way and why couldn't it be simpler. And he doesn't really remember what the plan was, but he wishes that the plan had worked, and kind of lamenting the fact that whatever it was that was so cheap that was keeping the city like stable wasn't working anymore. But you're under the impression that he doesn't know what that is or was. Yeah, I think that's what you get. What's Hulk? What are you up to?
Eating, drinking, and listening.
All right. Go ahead and give me your investigate too. See if you pick up anything unique
More
from your.
eating and drinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking. You didn't get anything special. You're a little distracted by Tuco singing about some of your own exploits and some of the recent history that you guys have been in. Grunthos, what are you up to?
Eating and drinking one-handed whilst training my hand crossbow at Tuco under the table.
Okay. Tuco, give me a perception to see if you notice that. Grunthos, give me sleight of hand. Tuco, you don't notice it, other than you notice Grunthos is acting like peculiar a little bit. I do want to handle one thing quick before before we go on. Grunthos, meet me in the sideboard.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the disease pica or pica? Have you heard of it? It is a
Eating non-edibles.
right. You find yourself craving like metallic taste in your mouth, and you don't know why, and I'll let you handle that as you see fit. But yeah, it's very similar. It's not the same as, but it's a very similar thing to pica or pica or however it's said. All right, back to the other room.
Yeah.
All right, Satet, what were you saying?
Oh, I was gonna shift my story to be about a holic side of unicorns, even though obviously I'm making a lot of it up.
Sure. All right. Go ahead and give me another performance roll for round 2. You've got the audience in your hand.
Tired.
but I was gonna give you advantage. You rolled middling, so you got 5 brass first round. I think you get like 2 more brass worth, and people are realizing at this point, hey, I've stayed longer than my like half-hour time for lunch, and a bunch of the patrons who were in the bar leave. Some people, they look more wealthy, are staying around. You still have the audience like, in the palm of your hand, but they're no longer. So, like, you no longer have them in trance. Not in trance is not
Okay.
exactly the word, but
So Holic story isn't entertaining. Maybe I better shift to Horgold's version.
all right, we'll get to that in a little bit. Anybody else got anything while we're here?
I tried to talk with the group that we're talking about, and that there were mere guards, and they were happy with.
Oh, the sure. Give me a charisma skill if you have something charisma based, to get yourself into the conversation. I wish I knew all the skills better. Deception, sure. So you tell some lies, or you make it seem like, all right. What does it look like? Well, let me see what they perceive of you. Yeah. What does it look like when they kind of give you the cold shoulder?
Well, I'm trying to mingle in this conversation about, well, trying to talk. Yeah, indeed, the town is indeed safe with the many guards.
Right. They kind of trail off as you involve yourself, and you get kind of a haughty expression. Answering a question for Gronthos. Then and they kind of pointedly ignore you until you go away, and focus on the Tuco, who has switched his tact from talking about Hollock to talking about the dashing rogue, and however that goes. So give me one more roll, Tuco, for basically the rest of your performance. And then give me 2d6 plus charisma. Yeah. 15? All right. You have... Yeah, roll 2d6 plus charisma. Or your charisma modifier, not your total charisma value. So...
14.
14, you come up with an additional 14 brass, mostly in bronze coins. about half of these coins are old. I think this place was Feilun coinage. The other half is modern Kartuk coinage. Both are approximately equal value, you would know. And people come up to you, ask your name, how long you'll be in town, that sort of thing. Where if you're going to be playing other like you're going to continue to play here or go to other taverns, and like where are you going to be tonight, that sort of thing.
I am open to scheduled engagements, and I'll be in town as long as we need to be, as long as it's profitable. And then I continue to sing about how Horgold couldn't figure out why he was riding from the back of the unicorn facing the wrong way.
Okay. So the last person to come up to you hands you a like card. It's got an embossed name on it, and the embossing has like on the front of the card has got raised lettering. The back of the card is flat. And it's got an address for somewhere in Convergence written on the back of the card. The name on the card is a name that I should name. Give me my one note, please. Thank you. It's a Geno Brodgi, or Brodogi. Jeno, and the O's got a thingy on it, and then Bodrogi. Brodrogi. Geno Brodrogi. Or Yeno. Probably Yeno. Close enough, Gruntos. All right.
Excellent. Can I see what the rest of my group is doing? Are they still mingling, or have they left me?
No, they're still around. Looks like Hollock and not Horgold. Oh, it's actually an O with two little thingies on it. Whatever. Hollock and Grunthos have like beer mugs in front of them. Their food has been cleared away at this point. And Horgold has kind of wandered around the bar with his drink in hand. But they're all still in the inn.
All right, I'm going to announce I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to wander over to Hollock and Grunthos.
All right. Hold on a second. I need to open up a door because it's so hot in here, so... All right, much better. Anyway.
So, gentlemen, what's the plan? Are we going to try to get a room here, or do you have somewhere we can stay?
I've personally never been here in this city before, so
Yeah, we can rent a room wherever we want and find out a little bit more about what's happening in the city at this point.
yeah.
Aren't there some kind of newspapers? I remember we had a newspaper last time we were here.
Yes, there is in fact a newspaper, which your GM has forgotten about, is now reminded. There's a kid probably selling newspapers, would be out in the street. All right, so getting yourself a newspaper, fairly mundane news. Seems like there was an attack about a week ago, and like the names of the people arrested at the attack have just been released to the public. They'll be on trial tomorrow. A male and a female. I'm not going to name them at the time because I don't want to have to look them up. They were caught at the scene of the attack. So they were destroying something at the railhead, probably the stuff getting unloaded and offloaded from the trains. Other than that, pretty normal news. The weather wizards say continued nice weather for the next week or so. Other than that, not a lot of interesting news in the broadsheet. At least nothing credible.
I'm going to pull out the card and show everyone's like, any of you familiar with this name?
Hollock.
I can quite confidently say that I have not.
Hollock and Horgold. Give me a straight luck roll. Just D20. Get a real good number. All right. Neither of you have heard of the name.
Well, that's disappointing. I was given this card. I'm not sure if it was from my performance or if someone was trying to reach out to us.
He didn't say?
Nope, just handed it to me. Do you have an idea where we can at least go maybe walk by this address and maybe get a better idea of what we're getting?
So it's a card with a name and address, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, yep.
So you guys, Tuco absolutely sure, Horgold probably, Hullock maybe less so, and Grunthos not at all. You would be familiar with the concept of a calling card. Basically, this is something. A card like this is a tacit invitation to visit the house of a person, usually wealthy or otherwise important. Usually the expectation. So if you receive a calling card, the person who a servant would give you this card. I mean, let me correct that. So this is something that you would get from a servant or something like that, and it would be a invitation to come visit the home of somebody important. It is okay. It is an actual real life thing from similar time period to what I'm trying to set. The how fancy, basically how expensive the card is, how expensive it how expensive it is an indicator of the person's wealth, because if you're spending, all right, so give it some perspective. Modern day terms, a calling card would probably cost $5 or $10 to make. And that's for a fairly simple one. The more expensive ones could get rapidly very expensive if they're like gilt or, but it's one of those things where you're expected to, the person who hands you the card is basically inviting you to come visit the home of, the owner of the card, I guess you'd call it. I'm not explaining this well.
Nope, I got it.
We got it.
So, I'm analyzing. Horgold, would you like to come visit this house with me?
Might can scout it out first.
Yes, that'd probably be prudent.
All right, it is early afternoon. Horgold. Actually, none of you are very familiar with how the addressing of this town works. It's pretty easy to ask somebody. How do you get to where? How do you get to this address? Sort of thing. If that's how you want to take it. Otherwise, just wander.
Ask guards for that.
Sure. You ask a guard. The
And showing the card.
Get
if Nico wants to.
you get. Okay, so that's actually important. Do you show the card, Tuco?
No, not this time.
Okay. So you give the address, and the guard kind of gives you an eyebrow raise. But he describes it as a place, to the east of here, probably closer to the eastern edge of town. Just a little ways north of the central government offices. Kind of it's about as far away as you can get from either river. It is kind of a little more up in the foothills, and yeah, it's within the the guard tells you if you head out of the walls, you've gone too far, turn around, come back a few blocks, and then head north a little more. You'll probably find the place.
Thank you, sir.
Last time I visited this was months ago. There were lots of guards also in green and brass armor. I haven't seen those around today.
Guy kind of scrunches up his eyebrows. Yeah. Few months ago, the noblewoman whose personal retinue those were part of left. She sent her guards up to Kartuk in a caravan, let me correct him. She, per this guard, she and her guards left the city on a train, and he kind of gives a rough date, and it's about 3 days after the ship sailed through town. But he's like, yeah, she left, and they bought out an entire train car to themselves. She and her guards left on the train, headed towards Kartuk. Not sure what was going on with that, but the mayor said that person in control of the town started in the day or two before that had started hiring more guards and letting it known that they needed more guards to be hired, and so there's been kind of a hiring blitz of guards in the intervening time, and since then, last few months.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. And we'll be on our way.
He tugs on his cap, and they go about their patrol like they had been before. Their patrol mostly this time of day, fanning themselves to keep flies and bugs off of them, and stopping by various cafes and making sure that there aren't any troublemakers around, that sort of thing. Checking for pickpockets, that sort of stuff. All right, Horgold and Tuco are headed to the Yano's place. Grunthos and Hullock. Are you guys going to go along with them, or gonna do something else?
Good question. I think I will follow.
All right.
I will start to follow, but very soon, quickly grow bored and just start wandering the streets.
How much did you drink, Granthos?
Lots.
I say enough to be tipsy or not. Do you look like a drunk little dragonling?
I look like a dragonling that probably has had a few to drink. Not overly drunk, but
Right.
noticeably.
Noticeably intoxicated. All right, we'll come back to you. All right, Tuco, Hollock, and Horgold. Well, we actually may, since Horgold said BRB, we may start off with Grunthos. So, Tuco, Hollock, and Horgold, you guys head off. Grunthos, you head into town a little bit tipsy. Is there an aim, or are you headed aimlessly through town? And
I am 3/4 aimlessly.
all right, so you wander around for a couple hours, and find yourself kind of in a dark alley type area, and you find yourself, like, at this point you've sobered up quite a bit. You're no longer feeling intoxicated. You do notice, though, that you're seeing fewer, like, city watch guards, and more like people standing on corners, looking very nonchalant. Just give me a perception check. See how nonchalant they look to you. Oh, they look like people who are very good at looking nonchalant, who are looking nonchalant. So yeah, you are in a, I guess, seedier part of town, even seedier than the docks. And yeah, we'll come back to that in a little bit. So that's a couple hours. Tuco,
I found Shady Street.
Yeah, you have found Shady Street. Tuco, Hollock, and Horgold. You guys walk probably about an hour. You don't really get lost. It's the town is laid out. You're not super familiar with it, but the guard gave good enough directions. You arrive at it is a 3-level home. It is set back from the road. There is a small yard in the front of the house. And there's some sort of side yards that have, like, flower gardens in them. This place speaks of wealth. Just because, it's not attached to buildings on either side and directly up. So the landowner owns enough land to actually set a fairly large house, not on the street.
It's a proper mansion.
Yeah, it's a proper mansion. Around this house, so each house, like, there's a small wall between each house, and then the gardens look like they're, like, trying to outdo each other. the like artfully arranged flower combinations and flowers that are not native to this part of the country, and like that sort of thing. Like these are not vegetable gardens. These are like engineered gardens.
Sculptured hatches and stuff like that.
Yep.
You know, pull out my cell phone and start taking pictures.
You all right. So that's the impression you guys get from a quick just walk by.
Well, this feels pretty fancy. Is this maybe something Anya would be living around?
Nah, don't know.
You guys, Hollick and Horgold, you remember where Anya lived beforehand. If you want me to, I can describe it, but...
Oh, no, I know where she lived.
Okay, just remember. I just, yeah.
Not gonna tell Tuco.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, which address is it? Which house?
7.
I'll send my owl up to get a peek into the windows at the top floor to see if there's something suspicious or what's inside the little...
Give me a perception check and a reflex save for your birdie. In that order.
Oh, damn it. I have to find the page. I have it marked. I got advantage on perception.
Go for it.
+1. Yay.
But at least you have advantage. So 15, and then roll your reflex save. So you get the impression from the bird, the third floor is like you see bedrooms and a garderobe and like family type living spaces in the upper floor of this. One of the rooms actually opens out onto so the porch on the lower floor has a deck on the upper floor that there's a window or a door leading out to this upper porch area. And yeah, you're getting the impression of this is the third floor is full of like the living place, or is the living spaces of the people who live in this place. All right, so dexterity roll for your birdie. Oh, good. As your birdie is flying around, it like you see it or you sense it, like sense something in the air and like tuck its wings up and drop like a stone. And there's like an electric zap that it hears over its head. It then, like just before it hits the ground, flaps its wings out and uses that speed that it just picked up to fly around the building once more and come back over to you. Or I guess if you set it up in the air higher, it flies up higher. But definitely some sort of magical protection on this place.
I dismiss it.
Okay, birdie vanishes in a pop. You can summon it back at whatever the rules are for summoning back your birdie. All right, I need to evict a kitty. Hold on.
Giant kitty attacks my owl.
All right, I'm back. Yeah, okay. We'll come back. Let's go back to Grunthos. So Grunthos, you find yourself in a not necessarily very nice part of town. You're feeling way more sober than you had just a little while ago. I don't think there's any real like hesitation or fear. These people do not look like a threat to you necessarily, but you can tell that you are under observation by everybody in the street here.
Oh darn! All they can see is the short sword on one side of the hip, the hand crossbow on the other side, and the spear sticking partially out of my quiver.
Yep. You don't
I
look.
look like I don't look defenseless.
You don't look, and you don't look rich. I mean, you're not wearing fancy clothing, or anything like that. But yeah, they're leaving you alone. You think on a couple occasions, one of the younger guys, like who's not obviously or not subtly trying to remain not obvious, kind of hushes one of his is hushed by an older companion, because kobold, this part of town, you think, or this town, you haven't seen another kobold around in your wanderings.
I'm loving that my character actually is introducing a whole lot of people to the fact that some races shouldn't be messed with.
You're definitely getting the impression that, you know, a normal 2.5 foot tall person, if they were dressed fancily or did not look armed to the teeth, would probably be being accosted. But you're definitely being left to your own devices. Are you gonna go anywhere into a bar, or just continue to wander through town at this point?
Actually, I think I want to start wandering in circles around here, trying to catch. I'm actually trying to catch people being accosted.
Okay. Give me investigate. You don't find anything. So foot traffic on these streets is lower than on surrounding streets. And everybody who you see here seems to be moving with purpose. You are judging by what you've seen of everybody else around, you are the fly that has wandered into the spider's web, and the spider realizes the fly is actually a bird that's big enough to eat the spider, and so the spider is surreptitiously avoiding actually going out onto its own web. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
Okay. So you wander around a little bit. You don't actually spot anybody being accosted or see any trouble. Occasionally at the edge of this kind of area, because after wandering around for a little bit, you can kind of get the sense of the edges of the area. You can see evidence where, like, an old, several day old or maybe week old blood stain is on a wall. Looks like the right height for somebody to have had their like head bonked against the wall, or like a broken weapon up into a gutter on the side street, but like nothing recent.
Yeah, just after I moseyed around for about probably hour and a half more after the first two. Just keep wandering the more guarded places of the city.
All right.
Just
It's almost like you can feel yourself breathing more freely. The city doesn't really change anything, but it feels more open, more sunny, more clean, more like breathable than the parts the shady area that you had found. You get your sense of that place is that it's very much it's closed in, and you're not sure 100% why the difference. All right, let's go ahead and rotate back to the other three. What you guys up to?
So, would I know what happened to his bird? Like, was it something we could witness, or he just sent?
Yeah, you would be familiar enough with familiars to at least see when it popped out of existence. You realize that that's like a normal thing that familiars can do. I don't know that anybody else would have noticed the like pop of electricity.
I describe what the birdie has seen, though.
Okay.
And I look at Tuco. Well, it's your call, your card.
Well, let's politely knock and see what we have, and maybe tonight we can come back and do some more.
All right. You walk up to the front door, through the hedge and the gate and the hedge. You knock at the front door after like bare moments. An older lady in fairly nice outfit opens the door, looks out at the three of you, sees like street clothing, not exactly the right term, but oh, and Tuco, what does your armor look like? That's actually because you have the glamored armor, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
You've seen those Corsair keyboards that change rainbow colors all the time?
Uh-huh. That?
So it's like, yeah, bedazzled, like as I turn. Not quite disco ball, but yeah.
Kind of an effect where depending on the angle you're seeing it at, it might be a different color. Iridescent, I think is the proper term for that.
Correct.
All right, so you're wearing an iridescent outfit. So she kind of looks you over, notices your outfit, and then Horgold and Hollux, and immediately classifies you as important and them as bodyguards. You can kind of see her make that judgment in her mind.
I silently nod to her.
And she looks at you and yes.
I do a flourish and whip out the card and say, I believe you have been invited.
Ah, and she takes the card from you. Yes, this way, please. And she opens the door to let you inside.
Thank you, ma'am. I wipe my feet as I come in.
So this front hallway is long and broad and opens up into several rooms. You guys kind of notice her make a motion with her hand as she opens the door, and another person in the hallway like scurries off and opens up a door, like the door opens up into the hallway in a room further on down, and stands politely beside the door. And then as once all three of you are in, she goes, please come this way to the library. And she leads you to the room that was just opened.
Is there anywhere to sit or?
Yeah, so the library is got probably 2 walls are covered in bookshelves with books. There is a couple of like probably 4 or 5 large leather chairs with the little footstools, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head, in front of them.
Ottomans.
Ottomans in front of them, or at least beside them. Small side tables. One of the side tables has a like a smoker's like a cigar case and various things underneath it. Rest of them are empty. The one with the cigar case has a book with like 3 or 4 bookmarks in it. And the lady who greeted you after you guys find your way into the room says the master will visit shortly. And she rather, I will let the master know you are here. That is what she says. And she closes the door with a gentle click behind you. And you guys are in a room probably 30 feet by 40 feet. Not quite that big. 20 feet by 30 feet. 2 walls are covered in books. It's a large room.
I'm gonna start casually scanning the shelves, the books, and whatnot.
The books themselves are... Give me a knowledge history roll. The books are mostly nonfiction style, like history novels, things like accounts of past conflicts between Phelan, Gosan, the elves to the south, Kartuk to the north. There's a bunch of different historians. They are not organized by alphabet. They are organized by era. So you might have a 3-volume novel or 3-volume set of of histories that's broken up amongst several different shelves because it may cover different time periods in different sets. The book that has is laying on the book that is laying on the side table with bookmarks in it is labeled the Fall of Gosan. And it has some obscure historian none of you have ever heard of. More like 15. None of you have ever heard of. But about the time you gathered kind of all this in, you guys hear the door open up behind you, and in strides a human, probably 5'2", wispy blonde hair, slight build, like you would think this person, if you increased every dimension by 10 or 15, like 10%, just made him 10% bigger in every height and shoulder width, then they would be a normal sized person. They don't look like a child, but they just look small. And they have kind of a mustache and goatee, again, like a wispy blonde coloration. And he appraises you as as you're standing in the room, and and bows just ever so slightly at the waist, and Karlogi, I need to give these people English names. Karoli Badrogi, doggone it, at your service. So I am told that you are a performer of some great skill. He is obviously looking at you, Tuko.
Some people would say so, and just saying, can I cast Detect Thoughts without him noticing? It has a verbal component, but could I just mutter?
Give me a Arcana check. Uh, 17.
Do I notice that he wants to cast a spell?
So I'm going to give you some information before you attempt to cast a spell. So this is a wealthy person's residence. He has entered the room of a... He has entered in his own house. He's in his own house. And he has entered a room with a person that has 2 guards. You're thinking that this person is possibly a spellcaster. You wouldn't know what kind necessarily, but just kind of that sense you get from them. To cast a spell without them noticing, especially a bard spell, you think it would be a bit of a stretch to do. I'll let you roll it, but you're gonna have to give me a very good stealth type roll.
If I recognize he's a spellcaster, I probably should have known from the dapper facial hair. I will hold for now and let the situation play out.
Okay, I didn't.
So how did?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just gonna ask him. So how did you come about knowledge of me?
I had a servant eating lunch in town, and they know my interest in storytellers, and they thought you were worthy of coming to have a chat with me. We'll see how accurate they are, but so far I have gotten a good impression.
Excellent. So, what can I do for you?
Tell me your greatest... He looks at you and thought, tell me your greatest story of failure.
Oh, I lay into this wonderful tale of pirates with flaming sails and dragons of miniature size that thought they were bigger and badder than they really were, and how the dragon was defeated and the pirates got away.
All right, go ahead and give me your performance roll. Give me advantage. Okay, so you got 24. He is grinning by the time you are done telling your tale. He is grinning by the time you're done telling your tale. And says, I believe you are worthy. Come back to me tomorrow, and I will tell you a tale, and I will have you turn it into a legend. And he, on one of the side tables, he bows a little more deeply at you, and says, for now, though, I will take my leave. And he sets a sack on a sack of obviously coins on one of the side tables, And when you start asking your question, he kind of perks up and he's listening to what it is.
Oh, and what time would fit your needs for us to make call tomorrow?
Shortly after lunch.
I bow. Very well. I will see you then.
He sets a pile or a sack of coins on a side table and heads out. Ahead of you, the female butler. Is there a different term for a female butler? The butler. She comes in shortly after him, and nods at the three of you and says to you, I don't know that I've seen him that happy in days. So, whatever you said, it seems to have impressed.
Excellent. Always happy to make people smile.
Will you be calling again?
We shall be back tomorrow, sometime after lunch. I hope to see you. And I wink.
she nods, but she is unable to be swayed by your charms, I guess you would say. But she nods at you and kind of guides you out, or not guides you out, but like definitely almost escorts, not exactly the right term, but as you guys head out of the place, she's hovering almost, and the door closes behind you as you guys leave and yeah, you guys are back outside. It's I don't know what time of day it is. It's mid-ish afternoon, maybe late afternoon. Grunthos, you're still wandering around town.
Where did Gruntos go? When did he leave?
I thought he followed us.
I look around. It's like, well, God, he's so short. I didn't even notice.
All right. What's the plan?
So
for the rest of the day?
So what did you two think of that? Should we come back tomorrow?
Well, if it's for you to make some nice cash and then get a nice story, why not?
I have a feeling he might know some more information. Maybe not directly what we're asking, but maybe has some resources we can leverage to help us.
Maybe, yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm really thirsty. I need a pub.
Let's find Gruntos first.
I
Should
start.
we look for the hunter or let the hunter find us?
I start
can-
whistling really quick, like a dog, like when you called.
I think I can find him.
Locate object? Okay. What specific
On
object?
tiny figurine of Gruntos.
Oh, the 1,000 feet of view, object is motion. Sure, we'll say that the object is the object is within 1,000 feet of you. You get a direction as the owl flies to it, and yeah, you know he's you get the sense that it's moving at a walking pace.
I pointed the direction. He's there. He's moving to that direction. So we need to Pythagoras a little bit quickly, and that's the heading that we need to go to.
All right, you guys don't have any trouble running into Grunthos. Grunthos, you've been out of the Shades area shady area for probably about an hour at this point. You've picked up from somewhere like a iced confection, like a cold, I don't want to say ice cream, but like a gelato, probably, frozen fruit confection. Oh, my wife just tells me gelato is ice cream, but I guess Italian ice. I don't know, that frozen fruit juice, sweetened sherbet. My wife says. I don't always remember words, but yes, you've picked yourself up a sherbet from somewhere, and are. I don't know if you're munching it. I'm not exactly sure why you have it, other than you have gotten it. Tell me how you got it. I want to know if you bought it or it arrived in your hands.
I'm guessing there could be berries that have a slight metallic taste. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe I probably bought some kind of frozen treat, whatever, made by some fruit I know has a vaguely metallic taste.
So you guys see Grunthos chomping down on this berry sherbet, just kind of wandering around.
Hey, Gruntos.
What? What? Who? Where?
Up here.
Hey! There you are.
So yeah, we should find a place to stay. I think we got a job for Tuco for tomorrow. So and we can gather some more information probably from him, and maybe we can find some more information in town. We'll see.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Darn, this treat is good. Munch.
All right. You guys gonna stay at the Color Animal Inn, or are you just gonna find a different? Find a different place.
To be honest, Grunthos has not been paying attention to any sort of place to stay or place to eat, other than suddenly getting a craving for something, and finding somewhere that sells that. So he knows where he bought the frozen treat, and where could probably find his way back to the Color Animal Inn, but has not taken notice of anything else.
Well,
I'd like to find some place to eat that serves like some Kartuk food. I'm tired of this convergence bland.
Lead the way.
Yeah. Go ahead. Give me a. Blah 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 blah. The intelligence, the searchy one. Intelligence.
Investigate.
Investigate. Thank you. Go ahead and give me an investigate roll. Tuco. 17. Apparently, you're gonna get a 17. Sure. You find another inn. Probably close to the rails. It's serving like as the evening rolls in, they're definitely serving roast beast. More in Kartuk's style, which I'm not sure what the difference is, but you can figure that out. I'm willing to accept whatever you say. Sound is the sound. I do not have a sound issue.
Same hit. No issue at all.
Do the dance, anyways, Erder.
When sounds messing up, I just twitch it one kilobyte per second either way, and just save it and just leave it.
Okay.
So sometimes we're at 64, sometimes we're at 65 kilobits per second.
Okay. Is that sounding any better at all, Satat, or?
It is.
Okay, good. Yeah, so roast beast, root vegetables, covered. What would be appropriate? Like, I'm thinking probably like, fermented cabbage. Wow, my brain is refusing to come up with any words.
You kind of hate me, huh?
I do. I really do. No, nope, cannot think of it. Sauerkraut, just thought of it. Sauerkraut as a flavoring agent, and yeah, no, it is a good example of that sort of fare. the name of this place. What is the name of this place? Townsfolk. No, it's never mind. That doesn't give me a name. Names, please. Thank you. The Roasted Boar. Sure, we'll go with that. That's great. That's a great name. The Roasted Boar. Serving pig meat is what they generally serve. Strangely enough, it's roasted over a fire, and you get that lovely smell of like fat as it like goes off of a piece of roasted meat and like drops in the coals and puffs up in a cloud of flavorful smoke. Yeah, the evening rolls in, and the food is, if not amazing, at least acceptable. Again, this place has a bunch of like town workers come in around supper time. Nobody incredibly fancy or poor looking, just general like workers.
We'll ask for if they have rooms.
Yeah, they have a few rooms. Nobody's currently staying at them.
Oh, that's a bad sign.
Give me an intelligence roll. You get nothing from that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not. You're not under the impression that this is like people are avoiding this place at all. But yes, the rooms are currently empty.
Well, let's get a room then.
Barkeep asks, since you guys came in as a group, one room, or do you want, each your own, or?
I'm happy with one. Don't know what the rest is.
One is okay.
Wait, we're all gonna share one room. Who gets the bed?
That exact question looks to cross the bartender's mind.
Oh, you don't have room for 4?
I will take my own room, thank you, sir.
I mean, 2 could sleep comfortably in one of them, but it is a bronze for the evening room. A room includes breakfast.
I'll drop a brass on the table. I'll take a room and a lot of drinks.
He's like, yes, a lot of drinks coming up for Little Dragon Man.
I'll take my own room then as well.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. You guys get your rooms. Supper tonight is 5 copper. It is fine food. All right.
Gentlemen, sorry, this is a good place. My wife is freaking out. There's a snake that came in our house, and she would like me to get it out.
All right. Well, it's kind of a good, I think, wrap place for the eve as well. I think a little shorter game today, but I think we will go ahead and wrap it up there for the day. Thank you to my players for playing. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for the game.